with the 22nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Quinyon Mitchell, defensive back, Toledo. Go Bullets, baby!
Well, they got the corner that they wanted in Quinyon Mitchell. And I mentioned earlier, guys that go through the whole process and ace every part of it. Fall season, check. Senior Bowl, check. Combine, check. Interviews with teams, check. Straight A student here in Quinyon Mitchell, guys.
And think about this. You mentioned loyalty. I think you mentioned it as well, Joel.
Yes.
Different guys staying, right? DJ, you pointed out that Quinyon Mitchell had the chance NIL to go play Power 5 and make big money. Stayed. One other little small detail, he wore number 27 at Toledo. He wanted to get to a single digit like so many guys do, and he earned his way to a single digit. His grandmother said, son, if 27 was good enough to make you play the way you did before, 27 is good enough for you now. He kept 27. No NIL money, kept a number he didn't want to keep, stayed at Toledo, and turned into one of the top draft picks in the NFL this year. Speed to burn, and you mentioned the strength, Joel. He's got it all.
And just resilient. You think about the development. He was the 159th corner prospect coming out in recruiting. He was the 253rd player in the state of Florida. And here he is, a first-round draft pick out of Toledo. I love that type of story and the determination that it shows that he's had in development over the last 4 or 5 years.
And you know you got to be pretty good for Howie Roseman to take a corner in the first round. The Eagles haven't done that since 2002 with Lito Shepherd. So they see something here in this guy that they're excited about, and that's why you're seeing hugs and high fives from Jeffrey Lurie and company inside the draft room.
So you're saying that's like Howie taking a linebacker?
Well, we're still waiting on that. We're going to still wait on that for a while.
Well, we haven't seen any linebackers taken. We've seen edge rushers go. We've seen our first defensive back go. Just a ton of tackles and quarterbacks. And we haven't seen another wide receiver go off the board since Rome Odunze went off the board 9th overall to join Caleb Williams, probably on a private jet. They're probably already wheels up on their way to Illinois right now. Bears fans are out of their skulls excited about what happened tonight. Kaylee Hartung is with Quinyon Mitchell.
Quinyon Mitchell comes out of the green room there in Detroit as the first cornerback off the board, which we expected. Looks like he's about done with all this pomp and circumstance.
Hey, he got into a good spot, though.
Yeah, buddy.
It stings now, but it ain't
gonna count on it
when those playoff shares start rolling in.
That's right. That's right. And this is a team that needs corner help in a bad way. After they tried to run it back with James Bradbury, there it is, and Darius Slay, and now going to get that opportunity to kind of be that next guy to help lock down some really talented receivers in the NFC East. We'll give you a smile. Come on, Quinyon.
Yeah, about his business, maybe.
Hey, but Bucky, how about, I mean, no question, this has been one of the biggest risers in the draft community in terms of buzz, in terms of, man, this guy has burst onto the scene. Good tape at Toledo. Senior Bowl really helped him, and then he blew it up at the Combine.
So this is really interesting with Quinyon Mitchell is just the way that he checked off all the boxes along the journey. This is a guy that was terrific during the regular season. When you watch the tape, you watch him at the Senior Bowl, feisty and competitive, knocks that out, dominates at the Combine. And then when you think about the fit going to Philadelphia, this is a perfect fit in the style of defense that Vic Fangio wants to play. He's a man-to-man corner. He can play but he can play bump, but he also can play off. He gives them that versatility that they want from a technical perspective to be able to have the defense that they want to have to blanket some of those NFC East rivals.
Yeah, and you know, this is also what happens when you have 6 quarterbacks go.
Yeah, good players get pushed down the board.
You know, and so good cornerbacks get pushed down the board. And you saw his competitive nature at the Senior Bowl. It was so much fun watching him react to players. He went from Toledo. He wanted to show everyone that he belonged. But he has the athletic profile. I think from a coverage standpoint, he can play man or zone. I honestly believe that if you needed to, he could match up as a bigger slot. If you want to throw Rome Odunze at him, for example, from the slot, Mitchell can slide right in with them without a problem because he has those kind of hips. So I think Quinyon Mitchell's a really good selection for the Eagles. Very, very fortunate to have him fall to that spot. And that doesn't happen unless all those quarterbacks get the big push that help push down rushers and cornerbacks in this draft.
And the Washington Commanders have traded the 40th pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. And with the 40th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Cooper DeJean, DB, Iowa. Let's go.
Okay, so the Fam Cam presented by Rocket Mortgage shows Cooper DeJean in Iowa celebrating the moment. He is a Philadelphia Eagle, and Howie Roseman, I guess, decided to hit his secondary here in his first couple picks in Detroit.
Well, when you look at it, Rich, last year the Philadelphia Eagles 31st in passing yards per game, 31st in third down defense, 31st in points per game, 30th in the red zone. They had some work to do. And you go out and get the number 1 corner, in my opinion, or the number 2 corner, in my opinion, in Quinyon Mitchell. They just got the number 3 corner, and Cooper DeJean, who could also play inside as the nickel or could slide back eventually and play some safety. Think about Malcolm Jenkins, who made that transition from college to the NFL, a similar type player. You see this inside experience, excellent instincts to undercut routes and make plays on the football. The angles, as a tackler, he's outstanding. Takes outstanding angles, gets guys on the ground with force. He's a big physical guy, and in the return game, we mentioned this with him yesterday, if he were to go, the change in the return rules benefits someone like Cooper DeJean. He'll get on the field not only and play downs 1 through 3, he'll get some work on 4th downs as well on special teams.
Yeah, we already know he had the punt return ability. Now he might add kickoff return to it. But my comparison is the name that you mentioned, Malcolm Jenkins, for all the reasons you articulated, Daniel. This is a young man that wants to stay out on the corner. Malcolm Jenkins wanted to stay out on the corner when he came out of Ohio State. But as it turned out, his value, his best play, started to go inside, which a lot of people see with Cooper DeJean. You see the vision there to see the ball go to him because he was able to clue into the quarterback, see the ball out of his hands, and the errant throw ends up in his arms. He returns it. Malcolm Jenkins had the same type of ability. Sees the play in front of him, goes for it, takes it, and goes the other way. Tackling ability, toughness, smart, all of that is there. The Malcolm Jenkins comparison, I think, is very apt.
I had a mock taking Cooper DeJean at 22 overall here, Bucky. They end up getting the top corner on the board in Quinyon Mitchell, then come back and get arguably the 3rd best corner in the draft in Cooper DeJean in the 2nd round.
You can say 3rd best corner. I think he's the best nickel defender in this draft class. This dude is terrific. Fantastic playmaker, versatile, can play anywhere in the secondary, does it with flair, great ball skills, plays with tremendous technique, and you talk about an A1 athlete. I'll call him the decathlete. He can do so many different things in the back end, and when you throw him with his return skills, I mean, you talk about a 3-in-1 player that you get in Cooper DeJean with a high IQ, perfect fit in Vic Fangio's defense.
Decathlete? Did you just bring up like Dan O'Brien, Dan versus Dave?
Dan
Remember that?
Dave, That's what I'm glad the 3 of us remember that. Yeah. But and he's also a really talented basketball player. Recently, they asked him if he was in high school, and we'll see here in a second. You'll see just how athletic he is.
There it is.
Watch this. I went and searched dunks.
Caitlin Clark, some
Buck told her he was going to give her work.
Yeah, but get some of this.
I don't know about that.
I got to finish that.
Okay.
Work on that.
Hold on.
Bounce. You got some bounce stuff.
He's making it look easy, isn't it?
You got to remember now, this dude.
This is all high school stuff.
High school stuff.
Yeah. He won the state long jump.
At
Iowa.
Let's go.
I mean, he has, I think it was over 23.
NFL teams love track athletes. They love guys with track backgrounds, don't they?
Vertical 38.5, broad 10 forward his pro day after the recovery from the broken leg that he suffered. The big-time return ability, multiple touchdowns off pick six, off interceptions, punt returns.
Everything, well school. Just look at Iowa and the tradition they have of putting guys in the league. Micah Hyde played there. Think about just the players that have come from that program that have played well. And it makes sense because Kirk Ferentz, NFL pedigree, like it.
With the 94th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jalyx Hunt, linebacker, Houston Christian.
This is one for new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. I was told this is one of his favorite players in the entire draft, someone he really wanted to coach. We talk about upside, a little bit of a project, but there is a lot to work with here when you watch Jalyx Hunt. Big time burst, change of direction, twitch, all that is excellent. Another one in my notes, by the way, another one playing against a lot of civilians, so I don't want to just pick on the Ivy League. He's beat up on a lot of guys. He's not going to see that caliber of player, but you look at how he dominated. You should be able to watch a player that's an NFL player and you put on Houston Christian tape You shouldn't have to look up his number. You should figure out who it is within 5 snaps, and that's exactly what you did when you put on their tape.
With the 127th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Will Shipley, running back, Clemson.
All right, Will Shipley comes off the board. This is a big-time recruit who got a lot of attention when he first got to Clemson. Look, the group around him was not as good as the previous iterations of those Clemson offenses that we saw, but this is a very versatile player. I kind of referenced him as like a slalom skier. His running style, he just kind of glides in and out and is able to make people miss in a real smooth, fluid fashion. And when it comes to contact, CD, I thought more kind of absorb contact than deliver contact. But he's going to have a lot of value on third down. Think of who just walked out of that door at the running back position. You bring in Saquon Barkley. Now you also get one that can catch the ball out of the backfield to sprinkle in after they lost DeAndre Swift.
And plenty of snaps at Clemson. I mean, a guy was almost a 4-year starter there. Had injuries his last year that put down his production.
With the 152nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Ainias Smith, wide receiver from Texas A&M University.
Ainias Smith, something you need to know about Ainias Smith. If you go back and watch his 2022 tape, I think it's better than the 23 tape. He got injured out for the year in 2022 with a season-ending injury. I think he came back and was still trying to find that explosiveness and still trying to find some of the athletic stuff. But when you watch him, there are elements of Christian Kirk in his game without question. He plays in the slot. He has good change of direction, and he's unusually tough and elusive with the ball in his hands. So you see some of that right here in some of these. I haven't even seen these highlights, but it's really showing up because he's got a little wiggle, Cynthia, but he's also got the power. So he can create with wiggle and he can create with power after catch as well. That's one of the things I really like about Ainias Smith is he can turn 5 yards into 8 yards. It's the little things like that that can move the chains and can add value. But I know there were some teams really hoping that he would fall to them in the 5th round, and one of those teams is the Eagles. And I like what he brings to the table because I do think he is a flexible option that you can move around the field as well.
My note on him is that something that wouldn't show up in that highlight reel is he blocks. When he's not the subject of a target, he's a good blocking wide receiver, which really matters on a team.
The Indianapolis Colts have traded the 155th pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. With the 155th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jeremiah Trotter Jr., linebacker, Clemson. Let's go!
Whoa.
Oh, I love
How awesome is that?
Father, son, and he played with the Eagles. Awesome. I mean, this is so cool that Jeremiah Trotter gets to announce his son.
I thought he was going to swear. I was like, we're getting an F-bomb here. We're totally getting an F-bomb.
Wow. Watch the son. I got you, Dad.
That's pretty good.
I got you, Dad.
Yeah. There's something there.
Nice.
You know, the pedigree, obviously, we're seeing this across the board. The last couple of years in the NFL draft, when you see those father-son duos, the reality is you get selected in the draft, you still got to be able to perform and play. How did Trotter do? What does the film tell you?
Well, film tells me he's going to be a starter, and film tells me they just got a future starter in the 5th round. Jeremiah Trotter, the only knock on him is speed. He's not a very fast linebacker, but he's instinctive. He plays fast with his eyes. It makes him fast. He recognizes where he needs to go. I think he's one of the more instinctive cornerbacks in the entire draft. He's also just a menace, as he says right here. Watch all the hits that he has. Like, I guarantee you other parents did not love this when they saw little Trotter. And, of course, they also knew, hey, that's that former Pro Bowl linebacker's son that's just laying our kids out all over the field.
I mean, that's adorable, but also terrifying. What I have on him is that he actually plays a lot faster than that run any of the testing would suggest. So his play speed over indexes compared to kind of the straight metric.
That is being said, with the 172 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Trevor Keegan, guard, Michigan.
Man, they're hyped today. Another Michigan player. So what's the number? Do we have a current number for Michigan players?
Now for the Wolverines. There's a host here at NFL Network that's probably jumping up and down.
This is 8. It feels like 18 after the first couple days.
It does.
It does.
Can you be like a resident Washington guy since you just like cover the.
Oh yeah.
Because they're at 9.
They're at 9.
Yeah,
so they're currently topping that Michigan squad.
Huskies are slightly ahead of Wolverines.
Didn't Oregon have 9 in the fourth round? I think it felt like.
Yeah.
Here's Trevor Keegan, classic Michigan man. He is going to be physical and tough at the point of attack. Usually they're a little bit at times limited in terms of. They do a lot of inside zone, some outside zone, a lot of duo and double teams. So what they like to do is just play right downhill on you. And so Trevor Keegan is going to go into Philadelphia. Philadelphia can expand kind of the ask for the offensive lineman. So it'll be interesting to see how Keegan does. But he's a classic tough guy. He is going to get down, the pad level down, and drive you. And I mean, there's not a lot I can say other than he plays like a Michigan offensive lineman.
Part of that is the wide base, like, bigger bum and keeping it low.
We call them bubbles.
Bubbles.
Yeah. Or bum if you are making the call in England. Yeah.
I'm polite. We're making the pick in England. A lot of English folk here watching. But ultimately, he has that low level, which means he's a candidate to be a very good leverage, tush-push kind of guy.
With the 185th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Johnny Wilson, wide receiver, Florida State.
So the Eagles, another wide receiver here off the board.
I guess is a wide receiver. I don't know, Buck. Do you think Johnny Wilson's a wide receiver based on what you saw?
Man, it's going to be hard. At 6'6", 231 pounds, it's hard to say that someone can go outside. But that tight end question mark that's on the card, maybe. That's where he goes in. Maybe he becomes a jumbo slot receiver that they can find a way to get some protection out of him over the middle.
With the 190th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Dylan McMahon, center, North Carolina State.
Yeah, look, the Philadelphia Eagles moments ago making this selection, Dylan McMahon and Bucky. I can't help but notice these last few selections here on the offensive side. Trevor Keegan in the 5th round out of Michigan, the guard. Then it's Johnny Wilson, the wide receiver, and now again going to that offensive line.
Yeah, down at the bottom of the draft, you're talking about guys that can find a way. And so you think about Dylan McMillan being able to go to the Philadelphia Eagles, natural void. You're talking about Kelsey moving on, but they're looking for other guys that can come and fill some roles. So
you like the 33-inch vert. But so when I tell you as a scout, so he's 33 vert and a 9'7" broad. That's pretty good for a center as a test.
Yeah, that's an explosive athlete, and it makes sense that the Philadelphia Eagles would do that because Jason Kelsey was an super athletic center. So you want to kind of find guys that follow those traits, even though we're not talking about McMahon coming in and being a starter. You certainly want to build that room up with guys who have similar traits.
He's played guard and center too. So he's played left guard. He started at left guard, right guard, center. That fits, right?
Yeah, it does.
You got flexibility, you got traits.
And ultimately, you got to have multiple swing players. You got to have guys that can play interior swing, meaning center and guard. Then you have to have someone that can be a tackle that can play on each side.